Everyone, I am Tanya with Ribbon Branch Crafts and I'm here with another cutie kit for you. Today I'm going to show you how to do the pumpkin cutie kit, and in this kit you're going to get two different colors of orange. You're going to get some of the evergreen Ribbon Branch craft clay, you're going to get two foam bases, and you're going to get some black clay and then two of these stems. Okay, so let's get started. For our first one I'm going to use, this is the orange that comes in the kit if you got it. And we're just going to roll our clay out wide enough to cover our cutie. Okay, get your tacky glue out. Go around all four sides. We're going to put that right there. And we're going to go ahead and fold this around our base. And we're going to go ahead and smooth that seam just like that. Okay, so now just trim off your excess. And we're going to use our finger to smooth our base. Flip it over. Okay, and there we go. So now there are two ways I'm going to show you how you can do your pumpkin. The first way is just with a tool, and I have this here. I have similar tools like this in my Etsy shop. You can also use a butter knife if you want. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our knife and we're going to create some of the pumpkin wedges. So we're going to go first in all four corners and do a line like this. And we do want to make sure we have somewhat of a deep impression. Okay, so this is what we have so far. Then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our knife and we're going to go in this kind of motion. And we're going to go around again. Okay, so once we've done that, we're going to turn it. And then we're going to do another curve on the opposite side. Okay, and that's what we should have so far. So now we're going to find our front that we want, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the face on now. Okay, so I have some of the charcoal here, and what we're going to do is we're going to take a small ball, and then we're going to cut this directly in half. Okay, just like this. So now we're going to leave the pieces just the way that they are, and we're going to grab one side and push with our finger with the other. See that? So we're going to grab the tip with our finger and push in with our other finger, just like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and place these on our pumpkin. We're going to gently press. Just like that. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take a little more of our black clay, or the charcoal. And what we're going to do is once we get it rolled in a ball, we're going to roll a log just over an inch, I'd say. And then we're going to taper the ends with our finger, just like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go around, and I want a little bit of a wonky smile. Now you can do this however you want to, it's completely up to you. And so now the next thing that we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and add some stitches to my mouth. And this is the exact same process for the actual smile. We're just doing in a smaller log. Okay. Put another one on. I think I'm going to put one more small. Okay. Just like that. Okay, so now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to start and we're going to work on the top of our pumpkin. So we have our stems. I think I'm going to use this stem here for this one. So if you got the kit, you got some, this is the evergreen color, and we're still working with our orange. So you're just going to pick which stem that you want. And I like to take a toothpick or a small knife or something like that, and we're just gonna poke us somewhat of a hole in the very top of our foam, just like that. Okay, then what you're gonna do, oops, sorry, is we're gonna take some of our super glue and we're gonna position the way that we want our stem to sit, and we're just going to go ahead and press it in. Okay, so now I want to add a couple little pumpkins just to embellish it a little more. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll a ball of clay, and this is up to you, the size that you want. And we're going to go back in with that same tool, and we're going to make a cross shape. Just like this. Then we're going to go back around in between each one of them wedges and make another line, just like this. So now use the back of a pencil or something like that, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to position it where I want it, and then I'm going to gently press with my tool. So this is what we have. I'm going to add we're going to do this exact same thing, and I'm just going to add a couple more, and then I'm going to show you how to add the leaves and the vine on. So I've added my little pumpkins. I did the exact same thing that I showed you. I just added them a little smaller and positioned them how I wanted them. So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the coffee bean, and we're just going to roll some little cones that are thinner on one side than the other, and we're just going to tuck them right in and position them how we want them to create a stem. Okay. There we go. So now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our evergreen color and we're going to add some leaves and some vines to finish this off. So all I'm going to do is just pull a little bit of my clay and we're going to roll a cone shape. And then what we're going to do is smush it with our finger. Take that same tool and we're going to create a little line. You can also add a little more definition if you want and put some lines on the side like this if you want. You don't have to do that. And then I'm just going to pinch it a little bit on the bottom, and then we're just going to position it where you want it to be on your pumpkin. I think I'm going to do a little bit smaller one. Make your cone shape, flatten it out, make your line, and we're going to pinch it just a little bit, and then just put it where you want it to go. Okay, I'm going to add a couple more leaves and then I'll show you how we do the vine. Okay, so I've put my leaves about where I think I want them, and so now the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to go back in with some of our evergreen. We're going to roll a ball, and then the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to make us a nice thin log. And then once we get it about the size that we're wanting, we're going to go ahead and taper the ends off like we did with the mouth. Just like that. So then the next thing we're going to do is you're just going to find where you want this to go. I'm going to start right here, and then I'm just going to do some little curls. And you do this however you want. I'm just going to tack it in a couple places, but I want this to stay off of my pumpkin because I want it to have that dimension. I think I want to do a little bit smaller one right here, so we're going to go in and do the same thing. Make sure you taper them edges off. I'm going to start right here this time. Okay. Now you can just add your vines wherever you want to, and that's all there is to it. I'm going to finish this up and I'll show you, and then I'll show you another way that you can get a pumpkin. Okay, so I have our second foam base covered, just like we did with the first one, okay? And so here's another way that you can get your wedges if you want a little bit more dimension. This is the rustic orange that we're using for this. And I'm just going to start by rolling a ball of clay. And this is probably about 1.5 inches or so. We're going to cut this directly in half. And now we're going to do the taper effect that we just did, how I showed you with the vines. But we're going to do this on a larger scale. Okay? We want a little something like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start on our 4 corners, and we're just going to bring it around just like that. Okay, we're going to do this around all 4 corners. I have another piece here, so we're going to go on to the next corner. Okay. Okay, we're going to go all the way around. Okay, so now that we've gotten all 4 of our corners covered, the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take one more of the same kind of shape, and we're going to put one directly in the middle. Okay, you attach our ends, and then we're just going to gently press just like that. Okay, we're going to do that all the way around as well. Okay, so now I have one that I've went in between each one. Now the very last step to this is we're going to go ahead and put one more in between to go ahead and fill the rest of that hole in. Okay, so I have 2 more of my cones here, and what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and attach them like we have been. Just gently press, and we're going in between each one of those recessed areas to go ahead and fill the rest of our gap. Okay, so now we have that, and we're going to do that all the way around the rest of our pumpkin. Okay, so I finished covering all of my pumpkin, and as you can see, it gives it quite a bit more of volume, and it looks a lot bigger. So I think for this one, I'm going to leave these little pumpkins off, and we're just going to add leaves to the top and the stem. So for this, since there's a pretty good bit of clay on top, I'm not going to worry about poking a hole. So I'm going to take my other stem that comes in your kit, and I'm going to go ahead and find my center and just go ahead and press that in. Just like that. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing, and we're going to add more leaves and a face to our pumpkin. Okay, so I have some of the charcoal here, and what I'm going to do for this face is we're just going to roll it in a ball, and I want my ball slightly bigger than the ones that we did for our first one, since our character's a little bit bigger. And we're going to do the same thing that we did for the first one, only we're going to leave them just the way they are when we cut it in half. Since our clay is already wet, you shouldn't have an issue attaching them on. So I'm just going to find about where I want them, and then I'm going to gently press them on. Okay, and then we're going to do, I think we're going to do a similar smile, but we're going to do a little bit different. I'm going to show you another way that you can use the same tapered log and get a completely different kind of smile. Okay, so once we get this about the length that we want, I want this one to be fairly long for what we're going to try to do here. Okay, so I'm going to take my pumpkin, and what we're going to do is I want to make it look like he has a little bit of a curl on one side, and then we're just going to do a little bit of a wave like we're putting a gingerbread stripe on, and then we're just going to curl it at the end and then just very gently tap it, and there we go. That's another way that you can do your pumpkin face. So now we're going to go ahead and add the leaves on this one. I have my evergreen back out, and so one thing you can do if you have a little bit, I had a little bit of coffee bean left. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to take this little bit and we're going to go ahead and cut this in half. And again, leave it exactly the way that it comes when you cut it. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in the corner of his eye. Just to add a little extra. You don't have to do this, but it's just something else that you can do with your clay. So I'm going to show you one more time how to do a very simple leaf. We're just going to roll a cone shape. Okay, we're going to flatten it with our finger. Take your tool, put a line down the middle. We're going to put some more lines down the side. Pinch it together at the bottom. And then we're going to go ahead and tack this down onto our pumpkin. I'm going to curl mine just a little bit because I want it to have a little bit of dimension. I think for this one, I'm just going to add one more smaller leaf. Roll your cone, flatten your shape, put our little lines in, pinch it. I think I'm going to put my second one just like that. Okay, so now the last thing that I want to do for this particular design is I think I'm just going to put a couple vines coming out of the top, and then that'll be it for this one. This is a very fun project. You can do the first design if you want to practice. It's more of a more basic type of style that you can do, and this is if you're wanting to hone in your skills and get better at rolling logs and manipulating your clay. This would be a great way to do it. So I'm gonna find where I want this to be, and then I'm gonna tack it, and then I'm just gonna start to curl it where I want it to go. Okay, so I'm going to put a couple more on, and then I think we might be finished. Okay, so here's our two pumpkins that we did with our cutie kit, and I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. These are lots of fun to do. They're also kid friendly in a great way if you're wanting to get into clay and learn how to use it. So I hope you have fun with this craft, and until next time, God bless.